Hello everyone, I'm really excited to announce the brand new release of the revamped and revised community portal for Lumin. So as you can see here, I've just logged into my community and things look similar but different. So we start with that same directory view of all of our Lumin accounts, um, but it's all presented a little bit differently. So let's go through things piece by piece. I'll start by talking about the menu over on the left-hand side here. So you can just hover over that to make that appear, and you'll see now that all of the different features or sections are grouped together into these groupings, which sort of bring together sort of modules of functionality. So we've got people, communication, media, recreation, and amenities. Now, for each community, you may see different items here depending on what has been enabled or not, and what you require and need for your community. So we always start with residents and households at the top. So that's our list of Lumin accounts, similar to previously. So we have a few people in this community. We can also search for people using the search bar at the top as well. So it's just a little bit easier to find those accounts when you're particularly looking for someone. The other thing that we've introduced here is this concept of groups. So you can actually group together accounts to make them easier to find and to filter. So examples of where you might do this. If as a community worker you've got your own list of accounts that you manage, you could create a group. Or for example, if you're a retirement village with different buildings and you want to be able to segment those buildings or different floors, you could do that to create a group and send out, for example, a message to a particular group of people that way. Now, when we drill into one of our accounts, again, some of the information here is similar to previously, but there are a couple of differences. So the first thing I want to highlight is that when we come into the Beth Gray account, we're actually seeing a list of residents. And in this case, there's only one. So the distinction here is that people with a Lumin account, a Lumin screen belongs in a household. And quite often that household has only a single occupant, as does Beth Gray. But sometimes there's a couple living together and you want to be able to record each of those residents because you need their individual information and their individual group memberships and attendee status, for example. So I could come back and I think if I perhaps don't have one pre-prepared that has multiple, there we go. So if I click into Paul, we'll see that both Paul and Simi are in here, and Paul is a member of the sports activity. So from here, we have the phone number of the screen. We can see that Paul is unlisted, which means he will not appear in other community members' phone books. So we're on the residents view. We can also look at supporters. So we can see all of those supporters for Paul and Simi, and we can see any pending invites there as well. There's a messages tab here where we will, as previously, bring across messages that belong specifically to or have been sent to Paul and Simi, but at the moment that's blank, but that will come in the next week or so. So that's the key sort of functionality around just your accounts listing. Very simple, very straightforward as previously. So let's move on now and have a look at messages. Again, the way that messages works, I mean, none of these different modules are changing too drastically in terms of what they do. Just hopefully things look a bit cleaner. So now we're looking at our messages ordered by most recently sent. So we can see this message was sent 7 days ago. And we can see it went to one person who responded. If I scroll down, I can find a message here where it's been unread twice, read 4 times, and responded 4 times. So we could click into this message and we can actually get the details of that breakdown, and we get the actual message that was sent. And then at the top here, we can see those responses to that message. So we can see it was sent to a group of people, and this is how they've responded to that message. All the way through here, you'll see that we've got a compose message at the top. If I click on that, now you'll see, hopefully this is a slightly simpler UI, although familiar again in terms of what it has. I can send it a bit like email. We've got this recipients bar at the top, and I can just click on that, and I can choose exactly who I want that message to go to just by clicking across, and you'll see that they appear here. Now, over the next week or so, we'll be introducing the ability not only to send to specific lists of people, but to choose a group that you have pre-created, a bit like what I showed you on that first page under residents. So we can type our message as usual, we can set our reply groups as usual, and we have that ability to send now or send later. And if we send later, we can set that there, or choose to upload an image. There's a mountain bike part that I've been playing with. So we could then click send if we were happy with that, or of course we can just come back and leave that message. So the next thing I want to talk about is the notice board. The notice board was previously called announcements, so we've renamed that to notice board to more accurately represent the way that it's designed to be a bit like a pin board in the community. So there's none in here at the moment, but I could add a notice, and you can see the fields again for adding those announcements should be familiar to you. So we've got our title and our category, the status of that announcement or notice, when we want it to be published from, and when we want it to expire, and then of course the core part of our message down here. So we can just fill in those details quickly, hit add, and it will be added as a new notice. Newsletters is a new feature, and it's really quite simple, but we know that many of you distribute PDF newsletters on a regular basis, or Word document based newsletters that you then hand out to each of your residents, for example. So we don't want to sort of stop that or move away from that. We're just going to help make that digital and easier for people, hopefully. So really simple. We can look at our past newsletters that have been uploaded. Again, we can set a published day and an archive day. So in this case, we've got a June newsletter, which publishes from the 1st of June until the end of June. And we can add a new newsletter, and it's very simple. Title, publish at, when we should archive it, and then of course the link to that PDF file, and that will just upload and become available on the Lumin screen under the Community Hub tile. So the group video is a direct link within this community portal through to the video portal that you guys should all be familiar with. So next, let's move on to the media module. So starting with the photos and videos. Again, it's got our albums along here, and we start with Majestic Residence album selected, so we can see the title there, and we can see all the images that have been uploaded. And we can click on any of those images to get a bigger view of them. And some images do have a caption, so you would see that up here in the title bar here, and that ability to then delete those images from this album as well. We can also create new albums. Give it a name. Add the album, and it pops up over here. And now we can then, of course, upload images and soon video content as well into these albums. So we can then choose the album that we want to push that to, and then select some files that we're going to upload. So, again, I can select something here, and it pops up with a preview, and I can select multiple files if I want to. And then I can choose to add those images. So Lumin TV, again, same functionality, slightly different layout. So similar to the photos and videos section, we have a list of channels along the left-hand side here. So there's just the one channel in this community. And we can see the videos that have been uploaded into this channel. We can see, a snapshot of it and the duration of the video. These are all YouTube videos and the title. If you've got lots of videos or you want to see what's been published or not published, we've also got that ability here. So we can see, we start by looking at all the videos that have actually been published or are currently published rather onto the Lumin screen. But we could look at things that are unpublished or look at all content. So in this case, you can see that actually all of these videos are published. And then we can upload new videos. So if we've got specific videos that we have created, then you can find that video file here and choose the channel that you want to upload it to. At the top, the search bar here is slightly different to other sections in that we're not searching the videos that we already have in our system, but as you can see, we're searching YouTube so that we can find new videos. So let's have a look for some cats, because who doesn't love a good cat video? And you can see that we immediately get the search results from YouTube, and we can click on these videos to see some of the details. And then if we want to, we can choose to add that video into Lumin. So we can choose which channel it goes to, we can modify the title, and again, we can set when does it publish from and to, and then we can add that video. Okay, so let's move on to recreation now. So this is all about your events and activities and the coordination of those. So we start with a calendar view, which is just a really handy view that lets you see at a glance all the events and activities that are taking place in your community. So we've got a fairly good schedule here of things happening. We're looking, and we start in a month view, but you can see with these buttons up here, we can actually switch to look at a week view, a day view, or a list for the whole month of what's going on day by day, which is a really nice way of being able to sort of see that information. And then we can skip to today, we can switch months, and we can navigate around like that. But then when you want to start actually doing something or creating, editing your events and activities, we can come over here. So let's start with events. So we have our list of events. These grayed out ones, they're grayed out because they have already occurred. So you can see these are in the past, but we still have them here for reference. So you can go back and see the details of them. We can add a new event. Again, we've got the blue button up in the top corner to click and really quickly add a new event with our title, the category. You can put a location field just to, is it in the dining room or is it at the beach, for example. We've got our attendee capacity. We've also added this attendee cost field, which at the moment is very simply just how much does it cost to attend this event if there is a charge associated. And then we can, when attendees get added, we can sort of track, or we will be able to track, the amount that they've paid or the amount that's owing. Start and end date of the events, and of course that RSVP deadline that you can set as well. And finally your content in here. So we're moving away from having those big sort of letterbox images that really were a little bit awkward. We will add in the ability to add a more squarish image, but at the moment we're focused on actually just making it really quick and easy to enter the information that actually matters. Now I can go into an existing event here and I immediately get some details. So I get that description and the contents. I can see if there was a location, the dates and times, and the registration and capacity, so I can see, you know, when is the deadline. We've got a capacity of 30, and so far we've got one person attending, so we've got lots of capacity there. And we can look into those attendees here at the top tab, so we can click through and get that list of attendees, so just that single attendee at the moment. But I could actually, if someone comes down to the front desk, for example, and they want to be added to an event and they haven't done it through their Lumin screen, then I could do that for them here. So I could bulk select people or select a single person, confirm, and they have been added into this event now. Likewise, I can also choose to select people and then remove them from this event. Or I could just hit the button to remove a single person over here, and that removes Elsa from this event. So let's add Elsa back in again, and you'll see that there's also a print view here as well. So if I click on that, it just gives us a really simple printable view of that table. So you can print this out and check people off at the actual event, so you know, as people are getting onto the bus and things like that. We can also edit the event as well, so I can click on that and bring up those event details, you know, in the usual way. So I could trying to enliven it a little bit, trying to encourage some people to attend. Let's make that text, you know, a little bit bigger. And see if that's going to make a difference. So we'll save that. Now when we come back, you can see that we've got that highlight, that updated text. So we've got our button here to go back to that list of events. And again, as I said, in this table view, we can see that capacity at a glance as well, with a little green indicator to say there's plenty of spare capacity here for these particular events. So activities. Much the same. So we've got our list of clubs or activities that we have happening in our community. We can search again through those activities. We can add new activities in much the same way. We can choose that category, description, name the category, name the activity. And then we can go into those existing activities and see some details. So we can see any scheduled events that have been created, the details of the activity, and once again, just like with the events section, we can see those members, we can add members, and we can print that membership list. So finally, let's move on to amenities. So we'll start with facilities. These are still quite simple, will evolve over time. Once again, we have our list. We have our search bar, we have our button in the top right where we can add new facilities, we can mark them as bookable, and of course we can click into these facilities and just get some basic information. So this section is still quite simple at the moment, will evolve over time. Same for services, much the same format. Add a service, is it bookable? So we can click into that house cleaning and we can see some of those details. And that's really the essential run through of the update. So you can see it's mostly just making things look a lot cleaner, more intuitive, a few new features, but it also gives us a base to start adding a lot more interesting content into here, which we will be doing over the next weeks and months. I suppose finally I can talk about you've still got your ability to log out in the top corner. And one more thing that will be relevant just to some of you, if, for example, you're managing multiple communities, you do have the ability to switch communities. So we've got the details of the community that we're connected to at the moment here, the Majestic Village. If I click on that, I'm actually an administrator for two different communities. So I could actually click on this button and switch between those communities, and all of the content, all of the details just seamlessly switches over, so you can then work in a new community. Okay, well that is a wrap for now. I really hope that you like the new design and that you find it easy. If you do have any feedback or comments, please do contact me directly or get in contact with our support team or your account managers and let us know what you think. Thanks very much.